Hi everyone, welcome back to the Red Lip Revolt. My name is Isabella, and today we are going to be talking about feminism and how feminist history has affected women of color and where women of color fall in that history. I also will be doing this colorful pink makeup look for you today, and I hope that you enjoy this video. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe before you leave today. I'm super excited to share this makeup look and this history with you today, and I will also be talking about some awesome organizations around Albuquerque, New Mexico that are doing some amazing women's rights and reproductive justice work that center women of color. And so yeah, I'll just jump right into it. Alright, so I'm going to start out with priming my eyelids with the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow primer, as always. A good trick for colored eyeshadow is to use an eyeshadow primer or concealer that's lighter than your skin tone, so that way the colors really pop. And today I'm going to be using the Morphe James Charles palette, and today I'm going to be using the shades Pinkity Drinkity and Skip. So I'm going to start out by discussing the waves of feminism, and a lot of these are probably going to be familiar to you, but they may not be familiar through talking about them as the waves of feminism. So the first wave of feminism is one that's probably very familiar to almost everybody, and that wave includes the suffrage movement. So the first wave was from about 1848 to 1920, and this was a movement that was mostly, at least remembered, to be led by white women. This was a movement to gain the right to vote. So, you know, we had the suffragettes, and this movement did not include women of color. This is one of the many instances where women of color were left out of movements for women's rights, and women of color who did work during these movements have been erased from that movement history. So, for example, Sojourner Truth and Maria Stewart were two women who made a lot of progress and were very powerful to the suffrage movement. However, they were fighting for universal suffrage, not just for white women's suffrage, and they did not get the right to vote, even though they contributed so much to this movement, and their names have often been erased when we tell that history. The second wave of feminism was from about 1963 to the 1980s, and this was primarily a movement that was again for white women and did not benefit women of color. It was a movement where women did a lot of work to get access to birth control, to be able to work, be able to have credit cards and mortgages and things like that. And so it fought a lot more for more women's rights and equality in the United States, and again left out women of color from that. Also, at the time that this movement was happening, many women of color around the nation, Latino women, Black women, Native American women, were experiencing forced sterilization when giving birth. And the way that would work is, for example, for Latino women, when they went to the hospital to give birth, the doctors would say that they needed an emergency C-section. And so when they went to go and get their C-section, they would sterilize them and then not tell them. And then women would later find out that they were infertile. And so this was a major violation of women of color in order to control the population of people of color in the United States. And this was able to be done legally for a long time. Moving on to the third wave of feminism, which is believed to be from about 1991 to now. This encompasses things like the Me Too movement and primarily focuses on things like sexual harassment in the workplace. And this also is known as the women of color rights wave. This is the time when the things that were being done to women of color, such as the disparities for access to reproductive health care, disparities when it comes to wages in the workplace. We all know that women make less than men on the dollar in the United States, but women of color make less than white women, and Latino women actually make the least amount to the white man's dollar in the United States. And so a lot of those things have started to become more visible, and women of color have started to create our own movements for equality and equity within the United States. And again, this also includes the Me Too movement and the fight against sexual harassment that has been all too culturally acceptable for a very long time. And by culturally acceptable, I mean our culture in the United States very much upholds rape culture and sexual harassment culture because of the way that we treat women, especially women of color, so much differently than we treat men. Especially like in schools, when in regards to things like dress code, we teach girls from a young age that we should have to change the way we look and the way we feel comfortable in order to make men feel more comfortable and to not distract men or draw attention to ourselves as if it's our fault that that women are so often raped and sexually harassed. So after discussing all of those things, I really want to make it clear that a lot of what the word feminism represents white women's feminism, and is not inclusive of all women in the United States, as it is proven to show throughout history. And so feminism means something a lot different to women of color. And in the work that I do, a lot of the work that we refer to in regards to women's rights, we don't like to use the word feminism because we don't feel that it is inclusive. And you know, the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because I hear a lot of people often saying that women have equality and that we have all the rights that we need and all of that, which, you know, we hear the same thing about like racism not existing and whatever. But, you know, we've definitely put up a fight throughout history to have equality, and we are still fighting for it every day, especially women of color who are not as advanced in that race to equality as other people in the United States are. And, you know, women of color are still experiencing horrific things. You know, black women are most likely to have complications during pregnancies and deliveries, and are most likely to lose children in utero, and you know, all of those things. And so this fight is not over, and I really wanted to reiterate that. And I do a lot of work in my personal life around reproductive justice, and particularly centering women of color in the fight for reproductive health access to you know, birth control and pregnancy care and abortion and all of these things that, again, women of color have not been centered on in that fight ever. And so I do work to really center women of color and center them in that fight, because women of color are most affected by these issues and we should be centered. Alright, so I hope you're enjoying this pink look so far. I'm going to throw some pink shadow on my waterline here and then clean up the outsides a little bit with my beauty sponge. A really good trick to clean up any color is to take some translucent powder and go around it, and it kind of works as an eraser and like smooths out the lines and edges around any dramatic color that you're using. Alright, and I'm going to throw on some of ring light now to my lid. And there are so many amazing organizations here in Albuquerque doing work around women's rights, including, again, the Southwest Organizing Project, the organization that I work with, where I do work around reproductive justice and health access which is called Strong Families New Mexico. And also I wanted to shout out Young Women United, which does a lot of work to destigmatize and change the culture around you know, young parents and access to reproductive health. And so I will be linking those organizations down below, and how you can get involved with them. Please make sure to check them out because they are doing such amazing work here in Albuquerque. This is the look that I have done today. I did a pink eye with some glitter here on my lid, and I am going to do the other eye and throw on some lashes, and I will be right back. Alright everyone, I'm back. I threw on some mascara and lashes. Today I threw on some Ardell lashes that I will put in the description box below. And I also threw on some lip gloss. Today I used my Colourpop Plumping lip gloss, and that is my look for today. I hope you enjoyed this colorful pink makeup look and also enjoyed me talking a little bit about the history of feminism and where women of color lie in that history and where we are today. I really hope that you decide to check out some of these awesome organizations in Albuquerque that are doing work around women's rights and reproductive justice. And yeah, besides that, that is today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And also, before you leave, make sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell notification so that way you don't miss my videos. I upload videos every Friday. Next Friday we will be talking about community organizing and what that is. Also, make sure to leave a comment down below on any videos you'd like to see from me, any topics you'd like me to cover, any makeup you'd like me to do. If you like this video, then make sure to check out some of my other videos linked here. And yeah, I will see you back here next week. Bye bye.